Okay, so we are live. So can anyone from the audience please confirm if you can hear me and can.
Are, are you sure we are live? Because I can see on the TTC channel, I don't see that.
I don't see any people.
Yeah, so Faiz has just confirmed that we are live and he can hear us
Okay.
and visible.
We just can't hear anybody else.
All
Okay.
right, so welcome everyone to the finals of the So You Think You Can Test contest. It was a very interesting contest that we organized. The judges had a wonderful time judging, if I can put it. You made them go through a lot of deliberation, a lot of discussions, and they're still discussing. That's the fun part of it. And without wasting much time, I would hand it over to Lavanya for a quick view of the contest and what you thought came out as the result of.
I think it was fantastic, right? Like to see teams actually interact with each other, or ask questions to the developers, and try to find like understand the requirements better, and then test the application. They came up with some interesting bugs for sure, and also I think the reports were pretty good. Like some of them we were really happy looking at, and I think from judges' perspective, right, we come from different backgrounds, we have different experiences, and that makes us think about like maybe different things as well, like what we like and maybe what somebody else likes. And we've been very supportive and cooperative, discussing what are the things that we enjoyed, and helping each other point to certain things that maybe somebody else might have missed. So we've had pretty healthy discussions as well, and yeah, we've tried to do our best, and try to be absolutely unbiased in taking these decisions. And hopefully, you'll see some amazing presentations today.
Excellent. And now to you know a man who needs no introduction in the YouTube space. One of the most popular YouTube faces you've seen around. Naveen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining live. And yeah, it was a great experience. And I think more than around 2 months, I remember that first meeting that we had in August end or September that we started. But yeah, that was a great learning and really great submissions. And some really good bug reports, and people were like so dedicated and pinging me, and then and then providing the all the different documentation, everything. That was really great. It was a great learning for me as well, like to see the report, and then okay, this is how people are coming from different background, different companies. This is how they test it, and then sharing their experiences and the documentation point of view, and either it is bug reporting point of view. It's really great. Some very interesting bugs, some really good documentation, and working with James and Lavanya and with you guys, that's very great thing, and it's like honor to work with Lavanya and James. And some healthy discussions still we are discussing, and then we are going to discuss very a lot of things after the session as well, waiting for the grand finale, and I hope the best team will win. Some really really great submissions, and it's really difficult to judge such contests where it's very close, like who to win, and it's like someone is getting a 9 out of 10, or someone is getting 8 out of 10. Very difficult to judge. So yeah, thank you so much for giving this opportunity, TTC, and yeah, wish you all the best.
Awesome, awesome. And now to the chief judge, the man who probably needs absolutely no introduction, and I dare not introduce him, James Bach. What was your thought of the contest, James?
Mostly, I felt like we need to learn how to put on a better contest. This has been a good learning experience, so that the next time we do the contest, it'll be more organized. The judging will be more organized. The people will be less confused. You'll have a much better idea of how to win. I have to tell you, I didn't like any of the submissions. I actually thought that they all should lose. And then I had to look at them again and say, well, who's the best among those people? But also what I found is that there were some submissions that I looked at quickly and I dismissed. And then Lavanya asked me to look again, to look more closely. And she pointed out particular things that I had overlooked. And then I realized, oh, there's more quality here than I thought. And Naveen did the same thing. We were all set with our list of finalists. And then Naveen came in late to the meeting and we're like, okay, Naveen, rubber stamp this. And he's like, I would like to suggest this other finalist that should be added to your list. We were going to just have 3. And he insisted that we add a 4th. And we argued, but he convinced us. And I realized, again, I had overlooked some quality that Naveen had seen that I had not seen. And it kind of shakes you. You know, as a tester, when you miss a bug that another tester finds, you kind of go, what other bugs am I missing? So I think it's important for us to have a diversity of judges. It's important for us to have judges that can talk to each other and be listened to. And luckily, we had that here in this. So I do think we have the right set of finalists, but we have to get better at this, and we will.
Yes, we will definitely get better. This has been a learning experience. And I also want to make one thing very clear, that although the finalists are presenting their reports here today, but it is not just the finalists who are going to win. There are going to be winners from the other categories as well. So if you have lost all hope that you are not presenting something, please don't lose hope, because there are awards for the bugs that you've reported. So be ready for the surprise, guys. So we already have our first finalist, and I'm going to add him to the stream. And there is Ajay. Ajay, I see that you're traveling. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Brijesh. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Ajay.
Hi, Ajay. So, over to you. If you can share your experience and what you found and walk us through your report.
Sure. I might not be able to share my screen as such. I hope, will that be shared by the team, or I can just give a verbal report?
It would be best if you could share the screen. You just can't do that? Was that because you're in a car somewhere?
Yeah, he's driving.
Are you actually driving?
I've just stopped for 10 minutes on the side and then taking this call.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So, yeah, first of all, thanks everyone for organizing this contest. What looked like a simple contest was not simple. It was tough for the simple reason that so many participants, different sets of challenges, I would say, like the developers were in a different time zone, which is usual again, but then first time working with them, so getting the answers, and most interesting was having all your questions or any queries answered in public. So you had to be a little careful in terms of do you reveal your strategy in front of everyone, or is it like you want to have your strategy in private, right? So that was an interesting challenge in terms of what do you ask in public and what do you ask in private. But then we did what we thought was the best option. So yeah, thank you for putting up those slides. So first of all, I'd like to go through the approach. So once we got the challenge, we went through the application on Android mobile, the Android app only. We did not focus on the iOS. And then we thought, let's just see what the app is all about. Go through the list of features, make a list of features in terms of a mind map. And then we use that mind map as our scope document. We had some questions to the developers, like, will we get access to configure the application? For example, the current app had few books listed. We wanted to add our own test data. That we were not able to do that. We did not get any response for that for those specific questions, and also in terms of the delay in getting the access enabled for the email ID. For example, we asked on a Friday, hoping that Saturday, Sunday we'll take care, but then we got it on Monday. But that's fine. So considering the time available, and we think we have done our best in terms of going through the going through the features with having the mind map as a reference, and then going through the checklist that the developers and the organizing team had shared in terms of the functional checkpoints. And then we also quickly glanced through in terms of accessibility. And then we used a free tool for security analysis in terms of any immediate vulnerabilities that might affect the app. We shared that report as well. So this is the test ideas map. Once we had the feature list mind map ready, based on that, we went ahead and added our own markers in terms of like green is like, okay, looks okay. No easily visible problems. Whereas if there is a red cross, something is wrong here. And we explained that in the bug report along with screenshots. So this is our mind map based report. Other than this, we had the different slides where we shared the security report, accessibility report. So this was the functional requirements that we got as a table from the developer. We added the comments in front of each of it against each of the requirements. Are there any bugs? Did we do a shallow testing, deep testing? Do we need more testing? So is this our best in terms of the testing approach? A big no. We could have done much better. But is this the best that we could have done with the time available, the constraints in terms of the developer response, the access issues? I feel, yes, a decent job. Other than that, I leave it to everyone here for any questions on the report or the approach or any of the points.
Okay, can you just quickly tell us how much time you did spend on this?
So we spent close to 4 to 5 hours on this. On the testing.
Okay. All right. So Naveen, do you have any questions on this?
Yeah, Ajay, I would like to see your bug report also. Can you just open that? Can you, if it is possible?
Yeah. So that was also submitted.
Okay, I'm opening those now. I'm trying to find them. Where are they?
We have that. So I think you raised around 9, 10, around 18 bugs. I think 14 bugs you raised, right?
Yeah,
so,
somewhere around.
I see from other teams also, in fact.
Sorry?
I have seen other reports also from other teams with
okay.
respect to the report, and then people are finding 70, 80 bugs.
Okay.
So why just limited to only 14 bugs? Like, did you not get enough time to do that, or you could not find much bugs? In fact,
so two things. One, time, and more than the time, the other part was we wanted access to the configuration part in terms of, see, for any test, yes, there is configuration, then you operate, and then you observe, and then you evaluate. So we were kind of stuck in the configuration part itself. We asked, can we get access to the CMS or the place where we could add these books, we could edit these books? No response. Like right at the configuration, we were kind of stuck. And then we felt like, okay, with these limitations, and with the 4 to 5 hours of time left for the deadline, let's just focus on what we can do best.
Lavanya, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. So, Ajay, I noticed that in your mind map you have mentioned some interesting questions, like the criteria for, say, how to show the books in trending section, or like I think why we
Yes.
need access to media for reading books online, right? So these were pretty good questions. What I want to understand is, did you get a chance to ask these questions to the concerned stakeholders? And if not, why not?
So right from the access, there was some delay in terms of getting the access, and then when we asked the main question or the root question in terms of the configuration, that also was not answered. It kind of doesn't help motivate the tester that what's happening. I mean, I want to provide service to you, I'm asking you few questions, there are no answers, then it's okay, right? Let's move on types. So yeah, there were questions, but yeah, we did not ask them.
Ajay, you have a reputation in the business, and I think you can do much better than this. This is pretty good. This is pretty good, but I feel like this is not you at your best. And I felt like that there's a lot of really interesting ideas here that are sort of partly worked with. For instance, your test ideas mind map, I can't really read it. I mean, I guess there are test ideas here, but they're just so short and not explained. And you did accessibility testing, which is cool. No one else did that, but you didn't explain anything about it. You didn't put it in your report where you tell us like what tool did you use. So I mean, there's real basic things that you've got to put in a real professional report. So you're saying you didn't have time to really round this out, but there were 3 weekends, so you really had more than 5 hours, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, no complaints in terms of the time. It's just that with all the other things, that's the time we could spend. So no, not real complaints in terms of, oh, we had only 4 hours. It's just that we decided to spend only 4 hours for this exercise, or we could spend from considering everything else, we could spend only 4 hours, for 4 to 5 hours for this exercise.
The thing that I really like about what you did is this nice overview here. So few teams did this. It's so simple, but so few teams just in plain English said, this is what we did. This is the kinds of things that we did. You said that you did a quick scan. I wanted more information, but this was a refreshing overview that pulled things together. If you had done a video with a little talk on it where you explained it, it would have been even better if you had done that. Another team did do that, so it was possible to do. But there's lots of really interesting ideas that you guys pursued that other teams didn't pursue at all. So that's why you got into the finals.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, James. Yes, is this the best work? No. Under the constraints, is this a decent one?
It's decent. Yeah. It's unfortunately you have a reputation to live up to. Since you're a publicly known tester. It's like if Naveen had been in the contest, a lot of people would be looking at him.
So, Ajay, I have one question. So you, Ajay and Sunny was there in the team, the smiling testers. So what was Sunny contribution and what is your contribution? I would like to know as a team, work also, like what exactly Sunny did and what exactly you did.
So Sunny and me spent some time getting the test, the feature list as well as the test ideas. And then Sunny went on and focused on trying to automate some stuff in terms of what's happening here. Can we, automate? And then we kind of I mean, he kind of hit a dead end saying, this is not worth the effort. And then we dropped that plan, the automation stuff. Whereas in the same amount of time, then, I kind of wrapped up the report and then made those quick scans on accessibility and security along with the functional tests.
Yeah, in fact, because Sunny was in the team, I was expecting at least some basic level of automation, maybe some content check quickly, because it's a kind of app where we can check a quick content and the description, or maybe some backend things that we could have done. I was expecting this is something like from Sunny especially. But anyways, another thing is that in your videos also, in the bug report, why is a plain video? There is no audio in that. Because it was really difficult for us to, it's just like playing a video and feature a demo, that's it. So what was the reason? You could have added some audio also, explanation also in the videos.
Yes, Naveen. Yeah, we are aware of it.
Hmm.
It's yes, a mistake. We could have done better. We know that. Sorry about that.
Sure, no problem. Just let's have feedback from my side.
All right, I think that's all the questions I have.
Yeah. Brijesh, you are on mute.
Bad habits. I was speaking on mute. Well, thank you so much, Ajay, for presenting. And the judges will look at the other submissions as well, and then we will announce the
Sure.
result.
Sunny had some personal issues, so that's the reason he couldn't join this, or else he was as eager as me to test and join this contest.
No problems on that, Ajay.
Yeah.
I hope everything is fine
Thank
with
you. Thank you,
Sunny.
everyone, and sorry for the background noise.
No, that's absolutely fine. On a Sunday morning, this is absolutely
Sure.
okay. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ajay.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Okay, I think we have the other team. I have to just yeah, from Hugs for Bugs, we have Saeed.
Yeah,
Hi,
hello
Saeed.
everyone. Hello everyone. Hi, Brijesh.
Welcome. Hi. Welcome, Saeed. The judges are ready for your presentation. So, Hugs for Bugs. Take it away.
Okay, so I will start sharing my screen. So I hope everyone can see my screen, right?
I cannot see your screen.
No, sir, you have to share it once again.
Okay, just a second.
We always have to allow another 25% of meeting time just for people to share their screen and unmute, re-say things. Uh-huh.
No, with online meetings, this is a problem that I also have.
Okay, now able to see my screen?
No.
Nope.
Can you share the full screen instead of just the application or something? Maybe that's easier.
Do you have more than one? Do you have more than one screen open or connected?
Maybe just share full screen and then you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying it.
And where is the other team member? Is it like only Brijesh? Only one person is allowed, or?
No. Said
No,
you had a partner, right?
yeah. She could not join due to some family emergency, Brijesh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can see it shows stop screen. I think I'm sharing it. Able to
Okay.
see, right?
Wait, let me see what is the problem.
Brijesh, do you have to allow the screen to be on, or do you are you controlling that?
Yeah, just 1 second. Oops, what happened?
You remove James.
No, I think something happened.
You have to add Sayed add to stream. Sayed screen.
Yeah, so Sayed's screen.
Just yeah, click on yeah,
Okay, now able to see, right?
and then before that, just please add James also.
Yeah, let me see. James has to join again. Sorry, James.
Okay.
Something happened. I don't know what happened, but
Did you throw everybody off
no,
Just you.
or just me?
Just you.
just
All
you.
right. I got thrown right out.
I don't know what happened. I was trying to click his screen. Probably my screen resolution is not good enough.
No,
So
Brijesh, you
now,
still have to add his screen. I can see your screen, not his screen.
whose screen?
This is
Yours.
my screen, I think. This is my screen.
Yes,
Okay. Well, maybe not. Maybe go ahead and show what you want to show then. Let's go.
share.
Oh,
Yep.
able to see my screen, right? So I'm sharing my PPT.
Okay. Well, do we see a PPT? I see a browser.
Okay.
Share the other tab, the browser maybe. A demo effect.
Okay, now able to see, I think. I hope.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Syed from Team Hugs for Books. I would like to take a moment here to thank the entire team for organizing this wonderful contest. So, I would like to talk about our experience and strategy while testing the MyLibri Books application right now. So, when the app name was disclosed, so we spent some time looking at it, what it was for, and how it worked, and we started to explore the app, and we came up with the mind map on the app to help us to grasp the app's feature. So this is the mind map on the my library books application to make sure to to cover the entire feature, flows,
We
screens to be
can't we
covered.
can't see the mind map. We see your PowerPoint, but not the slideshow.
So you can see the mind map, right?
Now we see the mind map, but we're not seeing it in slideshow mode.
Yeah, better you start. Sayed, better you start the slideshow mode or presentation mode.
Okay.
The right hand side corner at the bottom, you can see there is a icon. You can start this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going from this way.
Is it
Now able
starting on a different screen? Because we're not seeing the slideshow. We're seeing your speaker screen.
okay.
You could just maximize that window and scroll through those slides.
Okay, fine. Let me do that. So now it is fine.
Well, it's if that's as good as it's gonna get, just click through those slides. Click on the side to switch the slides, and let's
Okay, fine.
let's
Fine.
get going. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sure.
Okay. So this is the mind map for the My Library Books application to make sure to cover to entire features, flows, and the screens to be covered in our testing. So we have came up with the mind map. So after that, we came up with the mind map for our test plan. So in this, we can see to cover the multiple environment, multiple devices, and types of testing to be done, and product to be tested, and tools to be used in our testing. And we began the testing the app and continuing to report the bugs in on Bagasura tracker throughout our testing. So Bagasura has been a tremendous help. So this is the bug report for our reference. So you can see the bug report, right?
I don't see any bug report. I just see this slide that you have, test execution and coverage report.
Okay.
You're just sharing one screen, man.
So it'll help if you can share your or your entire screen and not just one application. Can you share
Yeah.
your entire screen?
Yes, sure. Yeah, now able to see my screen, right?
Okay. We see Bagasura.
Yes. Okay, we began testing the app and continuing to report the bugs on Bagasura Tracker throughout our testing. And this is the bug report for our references reported on the Bagasura. So these are the issues which we have raised through the Bagasura Android reporter. So let me show one issue by going through. So here we can see the summary of the issue description and tags used and issue screenshot and flows. We can see the flows for that issue and the status severity which we have given and the device details in which device so we found the bug. So this is the bug report. So after this we were able to we began the functional test plan that had been shared with us by the team using Bagasura. So this is the coverage and collaborative report, so which we have made through the Bagasura. So here I can see the how many test cases has been passed and how many test cases has been failed and bugs and severity of the bug,
What test cases are you referring to?
which we got from the team.
You didn't
So
get
they
any
have,
test cases from the team.
yes, we got it.
No, you didn't.
So
Those weren't test cases.
yeah, these are the test cases ID.
Those aren't test cases. Those were requirements.
Yeah, but we got the test cases from the team, so which we have executed it.
I don't understand. Show us one of the test cases. So I don't think any
Yes.
of those were test cases. I think those were requirements. What are you
Okay.
talking about when you say test cases?
So from the team, we got the test cases which they have
Where are
already.
they? Show us.
Can you show one test case?
Yeah, just show one test case. What do you mean when you say test case?
So this is these are the flows which from the login to logout.
So what I'm talking about, this live one test case all about the report.
So
What do you
this
mean
is
by
the first.
where exactly the test case is all about? In fact, in your test execution coverage report also, you have mentioned the requirement number. That's not a test case, that's the requirement number.
Okay, functional test plan. Yeah. So which we
That wasn't
got
a functional test plan. That was a set of requirements.
Okay. So based on the requirement, so we have executed. Yeah, this is the coverage report.
Yeah, so your team has not written any test cases.
No.
You just go through the requirement points and you haven't written any positive, negative, or any other scenarios based test cases, right?
No, we have not written. Yeah, based on the mind map, we gone through.
Okay.
Okay, we were able to conclude our testing, so we knew that we had covered most of the parts planning during creation of the mind map. Yeah, thank you.
Is that your presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Lavanya, do you have any questions?
Yeah. So, like in the report, you mentioned some things about, well, you said test cases, we're calling them requirements, but you mentioned numbers and you said X numbers passed and Y numbers failed.
Yes.
What do I, as a stakeholder, like what value do I get from those numbers?
Okay. These are the test cases ID, so which we are executing from our app, from the Bagasura app.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just want you to think about like what value would it be to a stakeholder, right? Like if you say there are 14 things that you tested and 7 of those passed, uh,
Yes.
what is the like value that I get from those numbers? What like is will I be able to take some informed decision based on what like based
Yeah.
on just
Based on that execution, you can go ahead for the launch of the product. So if you see the most of the critical bugs and blocker bugs, so you cannot launch that product, right? Yeah, based on that requirement, most of the requirement passed. If you see one of the fail also, you cannot launch that product.
why would you say that? Like, if something fails, which let's say to a product owner is not critical at all, then can we still launch the product?
Yeah, if it is not critical, if it is minor or major, so we can launch. So if it is not affecting the business, so we can launch the product.
Okay.
Only for critical and blocker, we should wait for that fixes, because we don't want to lose our clients. So we have many products in our market, so they can go for any other product, right? So if it is not giving good experience, user experience. Yeah.
Okay, so Sayed, I really liked your you guys raised around 70 bucks, 71 bucks. So and then I really like the concept like high critical, medium, number of priority based bugs that you have written. So what do you think after seeing all the critical bugs? Like, is it this app is really ready for production, or you feel that okay, no, they have to fix these bugs first, and then we
Yeah,
have to.
we have to fix these bugs,
So can you
because
show? Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
because I have seen many bugs in that country code has been not fetching in that, and biometric was not fetching. Some of
Mhm.
the critical bugs we can see. So if it is not working, then so we cannot launch that product. So even in subscription also, I have taken subscription from the developer team, and just for 1 or 2 hours I used it. So after that, it has unsubscribed. So even I have reported these bugs.
So you are, let's see, tomorrow if I give version number 1.2 also, and then you have to retest all these 70 bugs and number of requirements and test cases you have to execute it again. So why didn't you at least some basic level of automation? You guys could have done it, right? You got enough time also. So was it a lacking of skills, like in terms of you're not aware of automation, or you did not even try?
Uh, no, actually, we have to do first manual. So if it is if in the regression, so after fixing these issues, so we can do the automation.
Okay, and how
First,
critical it is? Mhm.
yeah, it has to reach some point. So due to that, we didn't do that automation.
Okay. Or do you feel that okay, this app is not a good candidate for automation?
Nothing like that. We can do it. We can do it.
Okay. And my last question that uh, did you try anything on iOS devices, or it was a logistic issue, or you could have tried on some browser stack or maybe some other source labs? Did you try anything like that to check the app on iOS devices as well?
We have no, sorry, we didn't check on iOS.
Okay. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Since Naveen mentioned regression as well, I wanted to ask you. So in the mind map, you've also mentioned regression testing as something that you would do, or
Yes.
maybe you've done.
Yeah.
Can you just explain a little more about what you did there?
Okay. So After covering the features, so we have done the regression based on the test plan which we got from the team. According to that test plan, so we have executed that regression.
Was it on a newer version of the app, or was it the same version?
It was the same version. So if we get a new version, so we can do it regression on the same issues, and we can cover more scenarios. So after fixes.
There's a list in your mind map of test types.
Yes.
Now, the thing about that list is I can find a longer list on any number of websites and just paste it in to a mind map and not even do anything. I don't have to do any testing at all. I can just paste a big list of testing buzzwords. The difference between just pasting a list of words and a test report is that you're making a representation that you did those things. And they're giving us some kind of information about how you did those things, some kind of evidence about them. I couldn't understand the connection between the different things you said. Like you said smoke testing, but you also said sanity testing, which I thought were the same thing. You apparently did both those, but I was looking for any description or information at all that would help me understand what you did in each of those areas, and I didn't find it. So, can you help me with that?
Yeah, let me explain. So how we did that. So when we got that app, so when we app name was disclosed, so we started with the smoke testing. We have done the basic testing for that, like installing the app and app permissions, like basic things like login, sign up. So basic things we have checked. So that we have done the smoke testing. So based on that, and next we have gone to the unit testing and integration testing, flows testing, and we have done these like this types of testing. So we know the concept how we have to do, and based on that we have mentioned in the mind map. So
You
what
have it,
testing we have
but
to
you're
do.
not telling me anything about how you did any of those things. You're just telling me you did them, but you're not saying how you did them. Don't you think in a test report you should explain how you did the testing?
Okay, we have not attached any for that types of testing. So how we have done so in the presentation.
What about your videos? You sent us 2 videos.
Yes.
Features 1 and features 2. There's no audio on the videos. So I looked at the videos for a couple minutes and my feeling was I have no idea what you're trying to show me. What were those videos about?
So this is the video for so which is not a bug and which has the bug. 2 videos. For one is for subscription and one is for unsubscribed user.
What are you trying to
Sorry,
show us?
But
I
there are no
apologize.
descriptions in the video,
No.
and in fact, the title of the video also not convincing. You have written hugs for bugs. I have featured 2.1. So how would I
Okay.
get to know it's a bug or it's a feature? And by seeing the video, it's just like a going through the video and going through the demo of the application. I mean, we were not able to connect where exactly the bug. So don't you think that could be better?
Yeah. It could be better. So we'll improve that.
In fact, I did not very much convinced with your mind maps also, because in mind maps you have just written the number of branches with respect to
And
the
yeah,
features of application. That's it, like library having 4 modules. I know that. But where exactly, this is not a test plan, right? This is just a mind map of the features that anyone can do that, these fancy mind maps. But I don't see a value addition here. So don't you think when you submit the report or submit your test report, you should have that, okay, what exactly you have tested, what type of testing you have done? I think that test plan is actually missing in your report.
okay. Sorry for that. For next time, so we'll be improve these things.
I think you have a real good intuitive grasp of testing. I think that's why you reported so many bugs. is you did a lot of things. You saw a lot of things. I'll bet you that you haven't done many test reports in your career, have you? This may be the first time that you've done a test report that you have to show off to other people. Isn't that true that you don't do a lot of these test reports?
So in our product we do only for test execution and bug report. That's it. So this is our first time. So we have submitted so many reports for other clients.
This is really important for everybody listening to understand that the contests are an opportunity outside of your work to push yourself and try things that you've never done before. And it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Yeah.
The reason why you're a finalist is because you threw yourself out there and you put a lot of bug reports out there and you tried things that they may not have gone as well as you wanted to go, but what made you a finalist is that you had such energy and exuberance and just trying this stuff. And we appreciate that.
We tried our level best to add some value in this app.
Yeah. And you and everyone else will be better next time. But we appreciate that you made the effort this time. Not many people even submitted videos at all. I thought we would get videos from lots of folks, but we didn't get very many other than bug videos.
Well, thank you so much, Syed, for taking the time off today and presenting your report. Thank you for participating in the contest. Like James mentioned, that it takes a lot of courage to go out there and present such stuff. So really appreciate your courage. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you, James.
And we'll get the views of the judges and then see what the results have to say. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, team. Thank you. Okay, shall I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can leave the studio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, team.
Who's next?
Next, I test best. Moshimi, she's been waiting for some time now.
Best. I've been wanting to meet you, Test Best.
Moshimi,
it's an honor to meet you.
Moshimi, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So, Moshimi, welcome. We all were very curious to meet you. So yeah, take it away from here. Let's see what you want to talk about.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to take part in this contest. I'll start sharing my screen now.
It's best if you can share your full screen. It's easier. So
I just thought of a contest called So You Think You Can Share Your Screen.
Yeah, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
We see it, yeah.
Awesome.
So, hello everyone. I'm a software test engineer with 3 years of experience.
Oh, we're getting a lot of echo. You're going to want to turn down your speaker, I guess.
I think you're on mute.
Decrease the volume completely, Moshimi.
Yeah, you don't want to mute yourself, but
don't unmute yourself. So unmute yourself and reduce the volume completely, or keep it less. Try now.
I'll try to speak.
You're on mute.
Mute. Unmute, please. Unmute yourself.
Are you muted now? Can we hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I am a software test engineer with 3 years of experience. So I participated with
Moshmi,
a team named Test
Moshmi,
Quest, and I am an individual tester.
Moshmi, do you have YouTube running in the background? If you have YouTube on, then please turn off that screen. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead now.
Yeah, so I participated as an individual tester. So we were giving the opportunity to test like my Library Books app, which is Africa's biggest digital library. So first I would take you to the testing process which I followed. So once we were told that we will be testing my Library Books app, so we were giving the functional specification and the contest plan. So first I went through the functional specification and the contest plan. Then I downloaded the app and I prepared the test environment in which I will start testing. And then I raised a request to the developers of the team to activate my subscription for the email ID. I wanted to use my personal email ID so that I could test it better, like how to set up an account and how to subscribe and everything. And first, I started with exploratory testing, like testing the app, like to go through all the basic functionality, how it works, and then I started preparation and of the test cases and executing it, and then I logged the defects in the Bugasura. So this is the test environment that I had tested. I selected two versions of Android, Android 11 and Android 10. And then first my strategy was first doing the exploratory testing, then the functional testing. Then after the graphical user interface testing, like how the app would work on uh, different UI version, like changing the screen resolution. So first, I started with the installation. So this is all the scenarios that I tested. I have mentioned here. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So all the scenarios that I tested, like all the installation, the first steps of the discover, download, what are the scenarios I tested, and then what are the steps I followed, and what result I expected, and what was the actual result, whether it was a pass or fail test, and whether it was a functional or UI. So I tested all the like create account, then all the failed test cases are marked as a threat so that if anybody can want to go through it, they can clearly see what the test results have failed, what are the test data I used to so that my test results failed. And then it was the welcome page, the login page. To test the login page, I use the testing technique like equivalence partitioning, boundary value analysis, and for the create account and login page, forgot password. Like I tested with techniques like negative testing, giving invalid input, negative values, alphanumeric values, and then after the login, my basic workflow which I tested like without subscription, how the app worked, that I was able to access the book and author details and subscribe fully. And with subscription, I was able to read a book and additional features. So this is the main workflow which I tested. So going into in the after login, I went directly to the settings to see how the subscription worked, the profile detail worked. These are the features in settings, uninstall, in screen resolution. I tried to change like the different screen zoom and link to. I'll show you the report here. This is the screen resolution. What are the scenarios? Like I changed the settings in screen resolution to this one. Then I changed the settings to this one. What are the steps I followed? Then after the screen resolution, I moved to Windows. Like I have a Samsung mobile. So in that I have an option like I can add to computer and then my screen will be viewable in the Windows. So with that I tested like whether when I perform some application in the computer whether it was synced back to my mobile or not. And then I tested like screen mirroring. So for screen mirroring, like you could be able to see your application on the TV. So for that, I already have a Roku device in my TV. So with that, if you enable, they have a settings like display mirroring. If I enable that, and I can install one Casto app in my mobile, so I can directly see the app in the TV screen, and it will be visible more clearly in the TV screen than in the mobile. So I can go through the app, read the books. So I checked all that. And then I checked also whether it is working in Wi-Fi and the cellular network and the interruptions calls, like whenever a call comes in between, and if I again switch back to app, whether it is showing that continue reading or not, whether the same book, the library. These are the scenarios that I tested in the library. This is the library part and all the favorites, that whether I was able to add a favorite from different section, the reading goals, what are the scenarios I tested, whether it was passed, failed. And then the reading features, like what are the features in the reading that were there. So either reading without subscription, whether I was able to access the book or not, what are the scenarios I followed, and then with subscription, this is no subscription. And without subscription, I was able to give a review. So I thought maybe they have given it as a functionality, but I think that should not be given. So I have marked it as fail. And then the quotes by the authors, and then read a book with active subscription, and all the additional features that were given, like highlight and the features like share and all the features that were like these, all the features I have tested. And then finally I have to summarize all in each section. These number of test cases are passed, these are failed, and the total number of test cases are executed. I have reported all the bugs in the Bagasura, but to make it little bit more easy for the judges, I have also listed it out in the Excel sheet, like what was the defect ID in the Bagasura, what is the bug summary, like what is the severity, and I have taken screenshots which have been attached in the Bagasura. So the screenshot has been not been attached, it is attached in the Bagasura, and what is the summary and what are the test defect ID.
I have a burning question. Can I ask it now? Oh, you are done. Okay.
Yeah.
If you look under the Discover tab, can you show us the Discover tab on your spreadsheet? And could you go to F11? F11. You see F11?
Sorry, I didn't get to. Where is the F11 I can find?
F11, the F11 cell on your spreadsheet. It's column F, row 11.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, this one?
Right. Now, you said you discovered 21 authors that do not have books listed under their names. And you said that the process that you used was to click on the CL authors, click on an author, verify the books listed under his name, click back, click on another offer. How many authors are there in the system? Do you know?
Exact.
Did you do it for all authors?
Yeah, I tested it for all authors, but I didn't count how many authors were there. I just
I know the count. It's 678. You did that loop. You did that procedure 678 times. And that's one of the reasons why you're in the final. Because your work, when we looked closely at it, and this is one of them that I didn't look closely at. I just saw a spreadsheet full of simplistic procedures. And I said, yet another spreadsheet of simple test cases. It was Lavanya that got me to look very carefully at the details of your spreadsheet. And then when I did, I realized it was better than the other spreadsheets that we got. It was more meticulous. And that right there is an example. Do you know why I know that there are 678 authors? Because I wrote a program to do what you did. I didn't do it by hand. Because I knew Naveen was going to be watching. So I was going to be ready with some code. So I wrote code that went through and did every single author and did exactly what you did. And you know what my program found? That 21 authors do not have any books. It found the same answer that you found, but you didn't use code to do that. You didn't use any automation.
No, I just did manual testing.
Did you spend like 150 hours doing the testing? How many hours did you spend on this?
Yeah, basically, like I am not working now. So I have before I was in US, so I have 8 years of gap. So now I moved to Toronto, and I'm means enhancing my skills and looking for a job. So I'm not working now, so I had time, so I took the opportunity to test the app and try to get back how good I am, whether I can do what I used to do so many years back.
Well, I guarantee you show a potential employer what you showed us, and they'll be very interested in you. This is well written. It's meticulously done. I have my concerns about it, and I can criticize it, but I want to first say that this is obviously very meticulous work, very careful work, and I want to honor you for that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, Naveen, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
Yeah, Mosmi. See, by seeing your reports, can you just open your Excel sheet? I really want to see them again and again. This is what old school report. Now we have different, tools and mind maps are there. But this is what we used to do 8, 10 years back. And I really appreciate the kind of work, the kind of number of hours that you have spent to test this thing. Like I see a very good tester, okay, in you. Like that's really great things that you have done. In fact,
Yeah,
James found.
after the testing reports were submitted, like after a timeline, I went through the different reports that the other tester had submitted, and I saw they had submitted the mind map. So I learned something new. So I thought like, yeah, I learned something, so which I'll use in my next time.
No, which is absolutely fine. That the main for me, what matters is that how exactly you are presenting the things, and you are taking care of each and everything. The color coding and the font you are using Vardhana that we used to do. That is, we used to follow when we were writing the test cases. Vardhana with the font size of 9 or 10, and the proper description about test steps, prerequisites, and everything. In fact, I can see here there is a match also. The number of test cases got failed, right? And then you have the more than that number in your bug failure report also, right? In the defect report also. So it
Yeah,
means your
it's
test coverage is actually good. That is, I really liked it. And then the Excel sheet that you use properly, no fancy mind maps and everything. It's like for me, it was like really quite impressive work. James found those 21 of the missing through automation, and then you actually spent a lot of hours. And exactly the same count you found it through manual testing. Manually, you did it. That was like really, I really appreciate that. So I would like to know that do you have any experience or anything that you tried with respect to automation?
no, I'm just trying to learn automation now, so I didn't try anything automation here.
Hmm. Yeah,
Well,
definitely
the
you can.
reason why I wrote the automation that I wrote was because I saw your bug report where you said you found 21. So I said, I'm going to find out if that's right. So I wrote code to do that because you gave me the idea to do it. I also discovered there are 2 authors that have 1 less book than they're supposed to have. And I would have been very shocked if you had discovered that, because that's a lot of work to go through and figure
Yeah.
that out without automation.
In fact, the
Yeah.
quality of bugs and quality of test cases that you have written, I'm really impressed with your resolution, Wi-Fi testing, network, screen mirroring. You're checking everything is on your devices, on your TV also. The interruption testing that is like very much required, on on different devices. That is what we have to do. This is what is required for the mobile automation, mobile testing point of view. That I
Yeah,
really liked it.
whenever means when we got the functional test and what the means we have to test a mobile app, so I directly went to Google and searched like how we can test a mobile app. So I got all the scenarios and then I followed those scenarios to test the application.
Yeah, because this is what actual end user will face the problem once suddenly the Wi-Fi is gone or your mobile data is off. How exactly your app is behaving? Are you able to fetch the previous data? How exactly you're maintaining the cache and cookies and everything? So that is like really impressive that you actually did it. So what was the reason you could not test it on iOS?
I didn't had a iOS mobile.
Okay. Did you try any other free vendors are available in the market? They provide some virtual iOS devices.
Yeah, I searched up in Google, but I first wanted to complete my testing on the Android, and then I want go for the iOS. But I'll try my best do it next time. Like summarize
Okay.
my time and give it to everything.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. Thanks for my side.
Um, I, okay, before I ask any further questions, actually, I want to say that I also liked your presentation.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
was well structured as well,
Yeah.
just like your spreadsheet, right? And I was definitely very impressed with the spreadsheet and all the different scenarios, like test ideas that you came up with. And just like James mentioned, right? So when I saw this initially, I thought, oh my God, so many details, right? And I had to look at quite a lot of them. Like, I had to spend a lot of time trying to understand what these different test ideas were. And like you have statements like verify and then detailed test steps. One question that I have for you is, do you think the amount of effort that you would have put in to write these detailed steps and these detailed description, do you think it's really adding a lot of value? Do you think it's worth the amount of time that you would have had to spend, or do you think there could be something different as well? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer actually. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
know
it
your
could
input.
definitely add to value because whenever the developer would get this report, like he would be very much sure, like, yeah, these all the scenarios are working and these scenarios are not working. So I need to fix in that scenario. So he would be more clear on what are the scenarios that are working and what are not working.
For
Is
me, when I looked at this, it was difficult for me to understand what was working because there were so many things, so many details, and yeah, quite a few things passed, right? I
yeah.
Yeah, so it took me time to understand what were the things that you looked at, what was really working, what wasn't. So do you think a developer really would be able to spend that much time to see this and like, know exactly what's working, or even a product owner, somebody who has to take a decision about this? Do you think they'll have that much time, or do you think there's also
To
something
take a
else that they should
decision,
do?
they can directly go through the bug report and see what is the severity of the bugs that has been listed, like the most critical things and the high severity bugs. So based on that, they can take the decision.
Okay.
I just want to point out that your PowerPoint, you should have given us that as part of your final package, because your PowerPoint really fills in the gaps that your spreadsheets don't fill in. It's kind of like your spreadsheets. You know what your spreadsheets are like? They're like you have a jigsaw puzzle and you just give us all two handfuls of all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle and just drop it right in front of us, and then we have to put together the jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, I do
I feel
agree
like I
with
have to
that.
read every cell and it takes a long time to find out what is she really testing. But your PowerPoint kind of puts the puzzle together for us. And people watching this should realize this for next time, because you could have given us this PowerPoint or a written document that covered the same kinds of things with your final report, and it just would make it a lot easier for us to understand what you were trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. I could have added a test plan and my test strategy to the final report that I had submitted. Yeah, I thought it when I got a mail that submit your final presentation. Then it struck me that yes, I could have submitted at the initial stage instead of submitting now.
Yeah, but it's okay to do it now, and we're going to look at this and think about it now that you've done this. So this is part of your final report. So we're glad to see that you've done it now.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Can you go to the slide number 5 once? Okay,
Yeah.
so you haven't thought about any non-functional testing like NFRs, like performance accessibility testing or something like this? You haven't tried
Yeah,
those
for
things?
the performance testing, like I didn't test in the timeline, but after the timeline was over, I went through Google and I had downloaded one second, the Profiler app, and I tried to test the performance of the app, but it was beyond the testing timeline.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I downloaded the Profiler app in my mobile and I tested like how much CPU time it was taking, whether it was increasing the temperature of the mobile. But I had tested it after the timeline that was given.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I think your work is really great, and I think you are a very strong candidate to win this show for sure from my side. But we'll see after that what happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Moshmi, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Uh, the product owner is here making notes, so I'm sure he will contact you because he needs a lot of
Yeah, sure.
those information that you have provided. So he's making notes. So he's listening. Thank you so much for your presentation today, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's getting tough and tough, Rajesh.
Okay. All right. So now, yeah, we can see Gaurav and Abhishek. So the curious testers. Hey
Hello
guys,
everyone.
I know you guys were waiting for a long time, but probably we have saved the best for the last, if I can say that. So take it away, guys. Gaurav and Abhishek.
Sure, thank you.
Where is Gaurav? Okay, yeah, Gaurav is.
Hi. So, which screen you can? Okay, I can see my two screen. Sure. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, hello, hi, we are Team Curious QA, and it was great to participate in this contest. And I have with me Abhishek, who is my teammate. So, and we'll start now. And it's nice to see the contest, a different kind of contest that has been organized, which make you think like, can you really test? Like after so many years, if someone asks you, so you think you can test, so that gives you self-realization. Yeah, you can, but you can do even better. So let me use the 5 minutes that we have. So this is our project and the product details. Like there was a timeline of 3 weeks with 3 weekends, and there is an app which is a mobile book reading app which we have to use, and we have the 21 requirements, and there was one thing that we found, and we tried to clarify that with developers as well. If you see, it's 1 to 22, but second was missing. So it's important that you you prevent problems instead of raising them as bugs. So we tried to clarify it with developers, but as Ajay also said earlier, that we got good support for the technical things like getting our accounts activated, but some of these questions were not answered, which is fine, like they might be busy. So our main focus was these 21 requirements. Apart from that, we kept the user at the center, like considering that how the user will use it. Like if while testing these 21 we found something around those requirement, or something which user can notice even if it is not part of requirement, we focused over there. These are the 4 deliverables that we prepared, out of which we shared the zip file, which was the requirement of the contest, and a video to describe that how a person can actually navigate through it, because sometimes we give too much stuff and the person don't know. So a readme or file that we have created, and we'll come to the rest of the 2 points. And next I'll move, there were 2 test devices that we used the actual devices, because even though we can use browser stack and emulator, as Naveen was saying earlier, that the problem is like they won't actually simulate, like somebody calls you in between. So generally when you test in those online apps, so sometimes you will not have other apps installed. Like I might not have WhatsApp, Telegram notification coming in between, somebody calling. So we prefer to test on the actual devices to see that what would be the actual user experience. And coming to the testing, like we just summarize one because we just have 5 minutes to explain. So this is a mind map whose link is this. I can go through it maybe after this if we have time. That we created a mind map, and before looking at the requirement, like Abhishek and I sat together, and we thought that what a user would expect from a book reading app. Like we, as James said, that there are online so many things that are available. Like if you search for a mind map, you will get on mobile accessibility, all those things. But we didn't thought like that. We just focused on the functional part of it, that what a user would have the basic requirements. What would be the reading experience? Can he sync? Can he do filters? Can he do some sharing? And what are the different subscriptions available to them? So accordingly, we created that. So we generated the test ideas from that. Okay, so that are thinking, because once you read the requirement, you will think around them. So before reading it, we did that, that we had the test ideas generated, and then we validated it functional spec, right? Because you might be going in completely different direction, which might not be the ask. The work may look impressive, but it is not required for the project. So we went through the functional spec and mapped that. And if you see these red colors, which is looking small here, but I can go to the mind map after this, that we found that those things are missing in the things. Like suppose we were expecting that there is a filter where you can see, okay, this books I have read and this I have unread, so that you don't read them again. So those features were missing, so we simply marked them missed, right? And we did the traceability things, like linking of bugs with user feature for traceability, like that. Abhishek, would you
Yeah,
like?
so yeah, I'll continue from here. So, as Gaurav said, we could work collaboratively. Like we also try to sync up as and when we had time in the weekdays and weekends. We spent some more time so that we cover more testing part. So once after we had this mind map from both of us, then we started dividing the work and the functional requirements, and where we went through the application, we learned them, we used them, you felt the we felt the application, how it behaves and all. And then we started on our individual devices. I have the OnePlus and he had iPhone devices, which actually gave us a good opportunity to test in the both platforms similarly. And then all those bugs that we found, queries we found, we had actually validated from both of us. This is what I thought, and what Gaurav would pitch in, and he would give his own ideas and thought about the particular bugs or particular questions and all. So we also tried to sync back with the developers by asking queries on the applications, and then we created bugs based on the application that we chose, Azure DevOps, where we linked our bugs related to the functional requirement that has been given. And we also introduced tags as per our understanding, so that it will be easy for us to actually browse through the bugs and user stories based on those tags. So there is also a tool that we used, Azure DevOps, there that gives us very good feature to navigate through. So the next slide would be about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
over to
here
you.
we have the stats. Since we have the tools available, so I think we should use it. So as Abhishek has told, that it is a linking, so we can make the traceability happen, that which bug is related to which requirement. Because sometimes we found that there is another requirement that could be linked over there, so we just did the linking over there. So these are the bugs, and we do change priority severity based on like what each of us think of it. And we have these categories prepared. You see there is a difference in number, like total bugs are 53, but here you see 67, because a single bug can fall in multiple categories. For example, it could be a bug in iPhone, and we felt that it's a design bug as well. uh, right? So, and observations are those things where you are not sure about that what would be the outcome, right? So sometimes the requirements are clearly written, but sometimes you observe that this is not what a user will expect, so product owner can take the decision. So that's why I have explicitly highlighted that the bugs with the tag observation, they comes in the category of that those where we are not sure about the expected outcome. Now coming to the conclusion, like the major ones I have written based on the bugs that we found, that like if you see earlier also, like we have the subscription has the 8 problems, and there are 9 also in other places. So it has the many problems. For example, like all the subscription types have the same facilities available under it, right? So, and there are 3 which were discussed, but we are offering a fourth one. So if Amazon Prime gives you a fourth option which is not available with the product and people buy it, so there is a risk that how you will maintain it. and there are slow responses. For example, if you open a book and you navigate to other book, so the refresh is taking a lot of time. So that book is having 4 reviews, but and another book is having 10 reviews. So once you open it, you will still see 4, and after 3-4 seconds you will see that. And night mode is not having a good color contrast, that you can't read it for more times. So these are some of the conclusions, like, and we found that there are more problems in iOS. We started with Android, and then we when we picked iOS, we found that there are more problems. And just to share this sharing feature, the problem was like there was a backslash n that were coming in the when you share it and you actually share a book, right? So which should not be allowed, right? You share a link with the book so that a user install it and read it inside it, but you can share the whole chapter within it, and that feature is not available with Android also.
Yeah. So also coming part to the reviews and feedback, the first thing that we normally do when we go to applications, authors, and books, so we actually go through the ratings and review, look through what other people are feeling about it. Because when someone when a reader is new and wanted to just pick a book that is a lot of people are picking up and all those stuff, so they will go through the reviews and all. So there is also a issue with reviews, like one person can give a different 10 reviews also, so that actually violates the review policy. Like I can give 10 reviews with whatever stars I can give, so that actually doesn't give a good idea to the readers. So that is not a good metric to actually choose a book based on the review. Also, there is like information about the book. For example, the title is different, the name of the book is different, the author is sometimes different. So it actually confuses, or it also invites some of the copyright issue, meaning if my book is displayed in the app and it is displayed with some other names, and then that is actually not right legally. So that kind of issues that we found and thought to highlight it as a risk. So that's how we actually narrowed down to some of the conclusion in our entire this slide. Yeah. So next one.
Yeah. So yeah, this one is the one, like there is extensive report where we can see all the bugs. So these are the tools that we use: ShareX for screenshot, and screen recorder for mobile recording, Gitmind for creating the mind map, and for getting the device info. Like in Apple, and in Apple we got it directly, but in Android there is a app which we took help. So I think we have completed our 5 minutes. If you allow us more time, I can demo you also, like what it is, like how it looks in PPT and how it looks in actual.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
one thing I wanted to complain about a little bit is you said that you had created a public dashboard, except that every time I clicked on something, it said I didn't have access rights, so I wasn't able to see the details. All I see is a bunch of numbers that don't mean anything to me. So the rights is an issue.
Correct, James, I agree with that. And for that, we wrote it explicitly in our README file. We found this problem earlier, right? We before giving it to you, we tried from our mobile devices and all, and we tried in incognito mode. We were facing the same problem, and Lavanya got to me for that. So even I told that, like, if somebody can go in boards, they can't go inside this number. But they can check it here. Like for example, we can have filters over there. So from dashboard, you can only go inside if you are added into this. Otherwise, you can navigate through all this. But there you can just see in read-only mode. The dashboard feature, it is not available. Like we tried to find any permissions if we can give to public. So it does not allow unless you are added. But you can see through data, but you can't navigate from this page to those pages, which are having the queries, shared queries basically.
Yeah, so that was just a problem in your report, because anytime you make it hard for the judges to see stuff,
Exactly.
it's gonna be trouble. Anyway, let's start with Lavanya. Do you have questions, Lavanya?
Yeah. So in your presentation now, you mentioned that you assigned priorities and severities to bug based on what you both thought. Did you also consult with product owner? Do you think it's important or not?
Because we don't have the liberty to assign to them, right? We can understand that there are so many people, and as of now, like if you see in our report also, like we have mentioned that there are unresolved incidents. So why they are unresolved? Because we did not have the developer or product owner to look into it. So that's why, like because and we did, based on the time also we can't go, like if you see here, this point is there, unresolved incidents, because they are yet to try these bugs. So yeah, we did not do that activity.
Yeah.
They were all there on Mattermost though.
Sorry, your voice is echoing.
No, I'm just saying, but the developers and product owner were all there on Mattermost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do ask, like as I said earlier also, like we asked the functional requirement thing that something is missing, and like flip was not working the way a flip should be there, but there were no answers for it. Right, so when you don't get 2-3 time answers, so we can understand that there are so many teams and they might not have time, so we did not went and ask ahead to try these bugs.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
And also, I noticed that you reported quite a few data-related issues, right? Like incorrect author names, or yeah, for example, this one. Did you check these manually, or did you use some scripts for finding these kind of data issues?
No, we did not use any tool. We were doing the exploration, like going through this, and even we checked some of the books online as well, like how they appear in other platform. So that's why, as Abhishek was mentioning, that we found that in Google and Amazon, everywhere the cover of the book is very different compared to
Yeah.
some of the books which are here. So yeah, no, we did not use any tool for finding these things.
What if we asked you to do systematic data quality testing so that we would find every problem of the kind that you pointed out there? What would you do to go about it? Would you be able to do that?
Yeah, so for
Yeah.
that, like first we will write the scenarios first, like what all things can be validated at one level, so that we validate that for one book everything is fine, and then using automation we can go ahead.
Yes.
Well,
Automation
yeah,
for
but how
everything
would you use
easier.
automation?
So we can directly use it at the back end, like instead of seeing the data in the front end and taking time, because UI automation takes a lot of time. So if we have the database available to us, we can directly write queries over there and check it out if the data is actually right over there or not, or
Oh.
for example title is missing and those
Well,
kind of stuff.
that's not gonna find the bug that you have on your screen right now, which that says that the name on the cover doesn't match the name in the HTML, but the cover is a graphical object. How are you going to have automation check that?
So in that case, I think we have to take the base images, right? For example, like we actually got some images from the customer, and we have to do visual testing where we'll compare it what is actually appearing in the app and match those, because it's very difficult to, like as you said, there are 626 authors like around that. So if we do manually, it will take a lot of time. So visual testing can help us that what is shown in the app and what is the actual expected.
How are you going to get all the images?
So we can take screenshot via APM in the actual app, and like maybe like if it is being displayed like this and actually the image is something different, so then we can compare both the images where all the images are stored and how is it displayed in the mobile app. So then base image and actual image can be compared, and we can know the visual differences that they have.
Okay.
Or possibly if the backend is exposed, API service is exposed, then we would have made use of that. Maybe the book API service that returns us the images and the name and titles and all those stuff. Yeah, that
Okay.
could have been also an option.
What do you think, Naveen? Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah. First question that it's really good report on dashboard on Azure, which is fine, but you have shared 900 MB, 839 MB of videos. So what was stopping you to prepare a documentation at least, right? I cannot watch the videos again and again. I just want to go through, I just want to provide any filters on the Excel sheet or maybe something like that. So why videos only?
No, we have it here, right? For example, if I take the example of this bug 60, so we have highlighted that this is the problem, and we wrote here what is the expected result, like wrong author name, and what is the expected result. And videos were in addition to what was shown over there. Like if I
Oh,
take
sorry.
some other.
I'm talking about the test cases, not the bug report. I'm talking about the test cases. Like do you have any specific test cases coverage so that I can at least prepare some requirement traceability matrix also from? Any
So
specific thing?
we did not write test cases because it is a one time effort, and like if we write steps and all, so we discuss those things in like offline or using the mind map. And here we did the traceability. Like I can understand, like because of access you might have not seen it, but it is the structure looks like something, so we know that all the requirements were covered. So we like if you see that, as Abhishek said, that we have divided the user stories. If you see that first few are first 11 would be assigned to me, next would be assigned to Abhishek. So we checked like that we have covered all the requirements, and where no bugs were coming, even we tested those also, but there are no bugs in them. So we did the requirement traceability like this, and you see that there is one more functionality for my Librine, means some things which were not there in
Then the requirement.
functional
Yeah,
spec,
so
but
this
we
is more of
found
a,
yeah.
yeah, this is more of a your user story is mapped with your bugs. I think
Hmm.
one layer is missing. That is user story, the number of test cases, and out of those test cases, these are the bugs. Don't you think that the test case part is missing somewhere? The coverage is important,
Correct,
right? The
yeah.
test case.
I
Well,
agree
you
with
have
that.
the
The
Like
mind
number
map.
of test cases is what you want. I can't tell anything from a number. You could
Number means
you
like
can
at
tell
least
me
what
62
is.
test cases. That doesn't mean anything to me.
No, I'm not talking about the number of test cases. I'm talking about what are the different test cases that you have written.
Oh, the list of test cases. Okay, a list you can get some
Uh,
value out of. I get it.
Gaurav, can you switch to mind map? So the mind map that we talked about in the earlier slide, that gave us an idea. I mean, the test ideas that we tried to cover, actually, these are the areas that we picked up and then tried to cover. So we actually planned it before.
But
So
by
this is
seeing
what
this,
the reference.
mind map, for example, if you push notification, you have written new trending books and about reading progress. Like that's the coverage. That's it. Or like by seeing this
No,
mind map, I cannot relate. Okay, these are the features or the test cases or scenarios that I have to test. For example, let's say I really deliver this mind map to some other new team member or some other QA
Hmm.
guy. He or she cannot execute the test cases by seeing this mind maps.
yeah, Naveen, I agree with you. Like initially, we had the plan that we'll create a test cases and the bugs would be failed against test cases. But because of the time constraint, we did not went that way. We had the scenarios which were roughly written. Like for example, we read the requirement and we wrote it and we
Yeah.
showed to each other. But we did not share that work because we didn't had the time to create. Because in even it has the report here test plans. So initial was like we'll use that, but even we had the another hackathon on the last weekend, so we did not convert those scenarios into test cases here. So yeah, you are right that other people would have to think
What
about the requirement if they have to test it, right? They have to read it. We don't have the test scenarios with us
Other than
here.
that, so I can see most of the bugs that you have written. It's more about let's see, symbol is missing, a payment button does not work, and all those things. But what about the when you test a mobile application, right? I was expecting some more about the NFR, the non-functional requirement, or some specialized testing like interruption with respect to Wi-Fi or mobile data, or some call is coming, or did you cover something like this, or did you find any bugs in that area as well?
Yeah, few are there. For example, this one, like when I switched off the, if you see that I switched off my Wi-Fi and I came out and I'm in WhatsApp. So again, the notification is so late that it is telling me when I'm in WhatsApp, it is telling me, please check your connection. So some of them we have covered it, but because there were so many in the other areas which we had to test, so we did not focused over there. Our
Yeah.
focus was main on the ones which are given. But yeah, we found such some of them like this.
And what about the load testing, the performance, like when you hit with the 1,000 or 2,000 back-to-back concurrent users and hitting the maybe it's a through JMeter or Gatling or something, you guys have to simulate such things, right? Did you try something like this? I was expecting this thing from your team.
No,
Can you
actually, I
basically
But on
yeah,
what basis you are
Abhishek.
saying the response is slow? You are saying the late response, but on what basis? You should have a data, right? With 1,000 users, 500 users, 5,000 users, the data, the push notifications are not working, or maybe the app or the page is getting not getting downloaded properly. It's taking a lot of time. Any crashing issues with 1,000 users or concurrent users?
basically the response time was about the navigation on the app. So it was not about the calls or backend calls. It was because it was navigation on the app itself. So when you switch to one screen to another screen, we felt as a user that it is actually a little bit slow, and few data were not reflecting properly, like reviews, comments, and all. No, they took some time to actually reflect via the backend. So in terms of that, we actually tried to put that
So yes, that
response.
is the behavior that you observe by seeing with one single user. But
Yeah.
let's see, this app is in the market tomorrow, and then thousands of people are using
Yes.
this
Yes.
app.
Yes.
Then
Yeah. That's a big point that we can improve on, like load test and performance. Yeah.
and
That's
what
I
about
agree on that.
yeah?
And we feel that like it should be stable first before we go for that test.
Mhm.
Like some of the scenarios can be done, like search and all, which are working fine or which are stable, but overall the app has problems, so I think those should be fixed first. And the other point is like we did not have much exposure to performance testing, so and we were even involved in these ones, so we could not do those.
Mhm. Because by seeing your report, I can see that you majorly focused upon the functionality of the application. That is what you presented in your presentation. Also, that most of the time you were focusing on these things.
Yes.
So okay, and what about automation? Like at least some basic level of APM content testing that you can do. You could have done through APM, or maybe some level of backend things that you can do, and just check the the title and the description of the ebooks.
So I think that it would not add value. Like the time I would spend over there and making it stable,
Yeah.
and the main purpose of automation is to add value to the system. So suppose
Yeah.
if I can check titles also, and I can say that via automation I spent 2 hours in it, and in that I have validated say 600 titles. So yeah, that functionality is tested. But I'm giving those 2 hours, I could have found many other problems, which may be more major. So
But
considering that, we did not go for it.
but applications like ebooks application or some online ebooks application, the content is very important. For
Yeah.
678 or 650 ebooks are there, and we should check each and
Yeah.
everything with
Yeah.
respect to the title, and the title is correct or not, it is matching with the book or not. It's not a one single product. It's like James said that okay, 21 titles were missing. In fact, other testers also, they found the similar bugs by testing it manually. So that was somewhere is, don't you think it's missing there?
Yeah. 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 Automation
There
could
are
have
Yeah.
also legal
added more power.
implications in some of these cases of
Yeah.
data quality problems. There are cases where the completely wrong book is being put up than the one that they have the rights to put up, and that has legal implications for the company. So there's there's some interesting reasons why you might want to go for data quality. However, I think Naveen, you would agree with me, and I'd like to know publicly if you don't, because it'd be good for everyone to hear this. It seems to me that if you test the product very narrowly and you ignore lots of things, but you say in your report, my strategy is I'm going to try to do one kind of testing really well, and I am intentionally not doing all this other stuff. Not because I forgot to do it, not because it's not important, but because I want to do one thing really well and present it to the judges. I think we would look good, kindly on that. And you can also say, I'm going to try to test everything and try to do it shallowly, but I'm going to do a little bit of everything. And you can win the contest if you do that. What I think Naveen is probing about is, did you just not think about these other things? Did you just not think they were important? Did they slip your mind? Because you didn't mention them much in your report. Is that what you're going after,
No.
Naveen, or is
Yeah,
it
that's
something
what
else?
I'm looking for. Like, did you at least think about it? Have you ever given a thought about it? That okay, just to at least check, because the kind of application that we have given to you, that is the most important thing, the content and the performance. That's legal cases
We
also.
initially had a thought of it, but then again, we thought preparing the script and setting up the environment and all those stuff might take time, and then we could use that time exploring the app and all those things. But yeah, as rightly James said, we could have focused on things and went ahead with the in-depth testing. So
So,
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
takeaway point.
automation can definitely add value, and we definitely have thought about it. But as I said, that there was another hackathon on the weekend, and the quarter was ending. So even Abhishek and I was busy completing some official trainings as well. So given the time, that's why I have explicitly mentioned. If you see that we focused on functional requirement because there is no limit to testing. Like even if you give us 21 more days, we can still test. So and we can add more and more factors. So given the time and the number of problems that we were finding, like if the app would have been more stable, right, we were finding it hard even to find problems. So definitely we would have done the data quality issues, because the data quality, when I found this, like, so it really worries me when you show a different cover letter, when you show a different author name, right? So he can file a legal issue and app can itself go down. So
Yeah.
data quality is really important, and we thought about it, and whatever we could do in the given time, we have tried to do it, but yeah, it could be better, and data is the most important thing in such apps. So yeah,
My
we
last
have not.
question.
Mhm,
My
mhm,
last question
sure.
is that let's see the whatever the number of bugs that you have raised. So let's see if I ask all the developers to fix those bugs. Do you really think so that this app is absolutely stable after that, or still there are many problems that you could not find, or you just missed that
Yeah.
because of your time limitations?
Yeah, there are
So
many. Yeah, there are actually many. Maybe we couldn't find more, but given the time, that these are the things that we could come up with. But definitely there are many. Even after fixing those, we won't say that app would be stable, because further we need to actually spend more time on exploring. Yeah.
yeah, we can retest and do the regression part, like whatever has been fixed, is it's working fine or not, and the areas which we could not explore more, for example, automation and performance. So we can think about those areas and actually work on them if all these bugs are fixed.
Yeah, because if you write automation, it's only one-time effort, maybe for 1 day or 2 days, but that will help a lot. Whenever tomorrow I can have 1,000 ebooks also, or 2,000 or 5,000.
Yeah.
I just need to parameterize
Agreed.
it and then just running it back to back and then finding some really good, interesting bugs. That is what actually James did it. Actually, that was really impressive. So yeah.
Yeah. Fair
Right, I
point.
agree with that.
So,
Yep.
what the only thing I want to say is that I have a frustration with all of the teams in that it was real hard for me to understand how thoroughly you tested and what you didn't test. Everyone seemed to just present this blizzard of items in lists, and that's good in the sense that there's information there, especially if you take the time to read every single thing. But I was looking for an overview. I was looking for an analysis, some kind of guidance about we did 10 kinds of testing. We did these kinds of testing more thoroughly. We did these other ones less thoroughly, for example, and give some examples. Something that would help me judge the enoughness of your testing, because I can't tell if you did enough testing or not. Even after all that you've said, I'm not sure how much testing you've done, and that's a problem that is not easy to solve in the testing world. Mind maps make it easier because you could have done a report all through your mind map where you put a little status on each element of the mind map saying, we think we covered this area very well. We think we didn't cover that area at all. And there were a few teams in the competition who did have lists of this is what we did not test. And a few teams did something like that. I would like to see that more of that next time, folks.
Definitely. Definitely.
Sure,
Thanks,
James.
James, for the
Why
feedback.
we are saying this, because this is expectation from both of you, because you both are expert in automation. I have seen your work, and I was expecting one more thing, that you could have tested something on Sauce Labs or maybe on Browser Stack for other devices. Not the real test cases that Gaurav mentioned, that the interruption testing or something like that, but at least the basic flow to make sure that the coverage is good, because the end user can have any iPhone device or any Android device. That
Yeah.
you could have found some really interesting bugs on some really old Android devices. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of testing that, opening the app in, let's see, some Android 5 device, which is like very
Right.
old, 5 years old or 10 years old device, and how exactly the app is behaving, and then we could have contact with the developers also, that okay, hey, are you guys supporting these devices or not? You could have asked the questions to the developers also, or the product owner also. You were having the full freedom that, okay, hey, tell me the devices, the listed devices that we are going to support for this application. I think that is a missing part from all the teams.
Yes, yes.
That is my observation.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
that.
thanks, Ramil. Yeah, nice points.
Well, thank you, Gaurav and Abhishek, for that presentation and for walking us through. Great effort. Okay, thank you, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
We'll decide, so thank you so much for
Thanks.
presenting.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for the
giving us
feedbacks.
chance.
Actually, it is really great. We'll improve again. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone. Bye.
Well, moving on. Now that we have seen the presentations from all the teams, it's time for us to see some interesting testing that was done by James. So James also, while the name of the contest is "So You Think You Can Test," James, of course, we know that he can, and he has done, and he wants to share something. So James, should I go ahead and play your video, or how do you want me?
Well, I just want to say a couple things first. One thing is, I'm very well known in the industry, and almost nobody has actually seen me test. Oh, hold on, let me pause that for a minute. Almost no one has seen me test, and it seems to me that as a senior person who wants to be taken seriously in the industry, I think that I should prove that I can test. I think that I need people like you, Navin. You need to see what I'm doing, and so that you can say, "Oh, James, didn't you know about this tool?" or "Shouldn't you use Docker for that?" or whatever, because you do things in a different way than I do, and I need to hear from you to stay at the top of my game. But I can't just say I'm an old guy, so everyone should shut up and listen to me. I got to prove it. So I'm trying to set an example here by showing that you can do automation. I'm usually considered anti-automation, but I'm not. I want to show that Naveen is right. You can do automation. This is actually almost an ideal application for automation. It's so much easier than a lot of modern apps to apply automation to this particular case. So I have a 9-minute video that demonstrates a specific thing that I did with data quality, and we can play the video now.
Okay.
Let me demonstrate this to you. This is a program, an app, a web app. It is called Libri at mylibribooks.com, and it's supposed to be an e-book reading library on a subscription basis. So I need to test this, and I was thinking I want to test data quality. How do I know that the book records are not corrupted? But I want to do this through the app instead of going behind the scenes and looking at the underlying database. I could do that, and that might be better if we had to do look at a lot of books. But I want to get some testing value out of this, so I want to go through the more of the front end, if possible. Here are the kinds of problems I'm looking for. If I click on this book here, you'll see I get a nasty 500 error with this. It looks like it's frozen. Is it frozen for everybody else too?
For me, yes.
Yep.
Technology. PHP
What
error message. So don't want that. But other kinds of things I'm looking for.
It's
Is it working now? Or include the title being wrong. Here the title is wrong. It has the wrong punctuation and the wrong capitalization. Or in this case, House on Mango Street, everything looks good until you look over here and you see that the description of the book is the same as the description of the author. So that's not right. This one has the wrong description entirely. So hiding in plain sight, and this says hiding in plain sight, the invention of Donald Trump. That's for a totally different book. This, in the author, everything is wrong except the cover. And if you go and start reading the book, then the content of the book is totally different than what's described here. So I'm looking for all these kinds of problems. I don't want to do this entirely manually, so I wrote some programs that get underneath the GUI to do this. The first one I wrote, okay, StreamYard is not good at playing videos. I think we have established that. It looks like I have to stop the video once in a while to let the video catch up with the audio. I don't have that problem on Zoom. Anyway, I could go to a live demo of this instead of playing this video, but maybe if I try one more time, we'll see. Let's try it. Just pulls down all 2,500 book pages. It's only 50 lines of code. It uses a library called Mechanize that I have access to with Perl. And, oh, looks like there's some junk here. Sorry. So you see that just pulls down the things. Once I have them, then I analyze them on my local drive. And at first, all I was trying to do is just find out if the pages existed or not. But as soon as I got them, I thought, why don't I create these extra checks? So I made all these extra checks to check the. All right, I'm going to give up on the video and just share my screen. How about that?
Yep.
Because I've got it. We've done enough of this attempt to. I thought that would streamline things. Instead, it has shown that StreamYard needs to do some work. Maybe I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to share my top screen there. Okay. All right. So let me move this down. So can you see? You can see this, right? I see these 3 books. Do you see these 3 books on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what my code does is it pulls down all these files, and then it makes a special web page which I just scroll through. So that I've pulled down every one of the covers, and all of the titles have been pulled out. So all I have to do is look at this with my eye and check that the titles match the other things. And then I had the program that did this flag things. Like every time there's punctuation in the title, I look at it carefully because I found that there's more chance of problems if there's punctuation in the title. So this flags that. If there are broken links, it flags that too. So as I was producing this, I thought, well, now I want to get real meticulous about checking all these things. So I also had the program automatically create this spreadsheet. It created the data for the spreadsheet. I manually did the syntax highlighting and all that to make it look nice. But these are a set of checks that the system does automatically for me. And then everything where I put green is where I manually review things. And then here I have little links so that I can click here, for instance, and it loads the page that I actually downloaded so that I could see exactly what's here and then go back here and say it's good or not good. Everywhere that's red is a problem. So I've checked about 250 books total out of all these. And as a result, here's the bugs I found. This is my report. So it's just a narrative report where I'm explaining in ordinary English what it is that I did and what data I extracted, some problems I noticed, some kinds of problems. exactly what I checked and flagged for every single book. And also, I tested the discovery pages too. So I downloaded every set of the 76 search pages that there are, and I checked that every single book on those search pages really exists. And then I made a change detector as well. So watch this. I can say, let's see. I have to remember what I called my program. I called it my Libri Discover Analyze. So my Libri Discover Analyze. Run that. So this looks at the 76 search pages that I downloaded, and it checks every one to make sure that every single book there has a real book page behind it, and that all the book pages also show up in the search pages. And there's 2 that don't. And those have 500 errors. They're corrupted book records. And then I knew that I was going to be asked by Naveen, what about regression testing, James? After you do all this stuff, what then? So I wrote a change detector. Now, this change detector took a few minutes to write. It's very easy to write. If I just type the code out, you'll see what I'm talking about. That's it. All it does is just go through the files that I've downloaded and compare them with a set of master files that I've set up. So if I say change detector right now and just run it, first it checks to see that there's no new or missing books altogether. And then for all the books, it does a diff. It diffs every one of them. So this is 2,500 book files that are getting diffed right now. And what that means is if I go to the effort of checking these meticulously and then later on I wonder, wait, maybe they changed. Maybe I have to check them again. I can just run this. And if the file hasn't changed, if the HTML hasn't changed, well, probably everything's fine. Of course, might not be fine because the CSS might have changed. There might be other things going on, but probably it'll be okay. Also notice that I'm just dealing with the web app. I'm not even touching the mobile or any of that stuff. And part of the reason I don't touch mobile is I don't know anything about it. If I were doing this professionally, one of the things that I would do is I'd go to Naveen and say, I've never had to use automation on mobile before. In fact, I've never really tested mobile. What should I do, Naveen? And then we would confer on this, and he'd probably give me some ideas of stuff that I could try. So I'm sticking with what I know, and I'm doing this just as a demonstration. So ultimately, here's the total outcome of what I did. If I go to this report and scroll all the way down, I found all these problems. Missing author picture, wrong titles, in some cases, a completely different book than was supposed to be there. In a couple of cases, there was that. Here's a book that is the wrong book. It's an uncorrected proof. The publisher didn't mean to send this book. And inside it actually says, this is not the published book. But the cover says uncorrected proof. So as soon as you see the thing, you know something's wrong. So all these problems I found. And then I was looking at Mishumi's work, and she mentioned the 21 authors. So I quickly wrote a program that duplicated her work in about a total of 5 minutes. And I also found that these 2 authors are missing a book from their page that they should have there. So in other words, I got better ideas about automation as I went along because I was stumbling into problems, because I was reading other people's bug reports, and those were giving me ideas. I love this. I love being a toolsmith and working with testers who are doing things manually that I know how to do them 1,000 times faster, even if it's very narrow. It's not as, it doesn't give you the same value that a human gives. But I love the idea of being able to offer somebody a tool that might make them be able to go a lot faster or to be even more meticulous. So you see, this is a manual process going through this. This is quite labor intensive, but it's not entirely manual because my program created this and because I have all these automated checks that went through. As we just go down here, you'll see that, like, here's a little red one. This is a case where the author bio and the description are supposed to be different, but they're the same. So that automatically got flagged. So when I come down here and manually review this, I'll already know that there's a problem, and then I'll review all the rest of the record to see if there's any other kinds of problems. And when I do, I'll mark these with green X's. I'll mark this. Well, this will be a red X. These will be marked with either green or red X's based on what I find, and so forth. I can even get a whole bunch of people to help me with this, so we can go through it all faster. But what the tool helps me do is to do this more meticulously, and once in a while, the tool can just do something completely for me, answer a question for 2,500 books that I don't want to have to answer by clicking 2,500 times. So I just wanted to show you guys this because automation doesn't have to be a matter of writing Selenium scripts and only writing a bunch of test cases and then painstakingly automating the clicks. You can do some really fast automation if you get underneath the GUI, especially when the applications are really simple. And this is a very simple application. Among other things, I discovered that I can download every book in this application to my home drive and steal the entire library. So that's a security problem that they probably are going to want to solve. But there's a lot of simple things you can do with tools, and I wanted to get that across because it seemed to me that nobody else was doing this sort of thing. Maybe they thought it was too hard, but maybe next time we'll see more of that.
Naveen, your thoughts on the work that James did? Because he wanted you to see it, so
I did. I specifically was thinking about you the whole time I was doing it, Naveen.
I mean, I'm really amazed to see your because I'm zero in Perl. I really have no idea about Perl, but the way you have written, scrapping the data and then downloading these number of files within 30 minutes, validating it, presenting the report, and such a simple code that you have written. I can see the code, and that's amazing work. That is the best candidate for automation. I'm so happy that James is supporting automation, and we are on the same page. That's really amazing work, James.
So,
yes,
James,
this is the code that does those checks. It's kind of crude, but it's a little bit resilient. I'm sure there's better ways to do this if I spent more time on it. But for a simple application like this, it gets more complicated when there's really a lot of dynamic stuff, when there's a lot of JavaScript. There's hardly any dynamic JavaScript in this app. So this is really something that you should have looked at this, folks, and just said, wow, this is a fat, ripe apple to use with this kind of tooling. So when I complain about automation, usually I'm complaining about really complex apps and just going through the GUI and how many hours that can take to get that running. But this kind of automation is quite a different matter. And so anyway, I did want to show off and have Naveen see it. Thank you for your kind words.
Lavanya, what did you make of this demo by James?
Oh, I really like it. It saves so much time, right? I mean, content, especially for an app like this, it is critical. And when you have something that can actually check it so easily and check it repeatedly, right? Because now maybe we have new content, and then that could be that all that validation again. So I am definitely impressed. James, I actually have a question for you also. So I mean, initially you did mention that you wanted to do it through the UI and like not somewhere else, right? Did you also think about some kind of an automation at the source, like so that it doesn't even flow into the system? Maybe a CMS somewhere, right?
Yes, actually, I think that if I had ready access to the developers, what I would have done first is found out about the content management system they're using, because maybe I can just go directly to the database to find these things. Maybe there's an even better interface. Maybe they even have tools already to do this sort of thing. A reason why I like doing this, if it doesn't take too much time, is because it does exercise the application. And it does give us some regression testing value. And you can also turn it into a performance test as well, because we can run multiple threads of a bunch of these things just hitting the server. And I can spawn 40 processes and just have it just try to do denial of service on the server. So there's various things that I can do that go above and beyond what I could do with the content management system. But if I had more access to the developers and I wrote this stuff instead of talking to the developers first and looking at that back end, I would be, irresponsible. It was the fact that I have very little access to them that makes this more reasonable to do.
Yeah, in fact, James, you can improve this by providing some threading, because there are, let's see, for example, 2,500 ebooks are there. You can do multiple parallel executions. Maybe in Perl, you can search for that, and then maybe 10 threads are running together, and then it's not hitting the UI, just getting the data from the JavaScript and then content, and then checking validation that are 10 things together at the same time.
I didn't think of that, but when I run my analysis script, it checks all the links, and it ends up taking like 30 minutes to run through the 2,500 things. So I guess if we did multi-threading on it and just did 100 for each thread, it probably would be considerably faster, because when I check the links, I'm just doing a head query, not a get query. So it's not actually pulling all this stuff down. So I don't think that my bandwidth is a limiting factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
So good point. I didn't think of that.
Excellent. So thank you so much for the. You have other questions, Naveen?
No, that's all.
So thank you so much for that wonderful demo, James. People are very happy to see that. So the question is, will you be sharing it as a public GitHub link for people to see your code?
I could put it up that way. Maybe I should learn how to do that. I'm just not part of the GitHub culture, but maybe I should start being that way. I have no aversion to sharing it. I'm happy to share it. I just have to remove any sensitive stuff. I've already removed my password from it, so you'll have to put your own account into it. But so I'll have to look into that and do that. I'm just, the thing about sharing things on GitHub is I always feel like I have to really document my code very well, or else I feel like I'm unprofessional. And so, but that takes time to do all the documentation and write the READMEs and make sure people can install it. And so going to that time is important to really help people. But it is a lot of time, and I'm on 2 projects right now. So,
all right.
I'll look into it.
Sure. Thank you, James. So, any word from the product owner, Teapot? What did you think of the contest, and
I
what do you think of all the demonstrations?
um, I think the contest is good. And I was making notes when all of the guys were presenting. Um, Not a lot of people knew that I was a product owner, and I didn't intend to tell anyone. But I tried to answer a few questions during the contest pertaining to the product itself. Um, but not a lot of people were asking the sort of questions that are coming up today that we didn't know this and we didn't know that. I worked very closely with James when he was running his test, and it was a shocker for me. But that's what happens when you are not hands-on. When you drop your testing role for a product runner role, I mean, I wasn't hands-on on it, but the contest is great. I believe it's going to make the application better. It might surprise a lot of people that the app is actually live. So all of this conversation about we should fix this before it goes live. The app has been live for about 7 months, so you are behind the curve on that. There are some few changes made to the app during the life of the contest. I'm surprised no one picked up. We threw some spanner in your way as well, just to give you some level of difficulty because the app was written in Flutter, and Flutter is basically a variation of English language. It's very easy. Like James just said, there's no complexity in the app. And the reason being that we want it to be very easy, bordering on, very easy to use and stuff. So I believe the app would benefit from this contest. I believe that a lot of people will realize there's a big difference between bug hunting competition and test competition. And from what you've seen or heard from the judges now, you begin to imagine the sort of things that you actually do in a testing competition, because the first day of the competition we had 329 defects reported, and at the end of the competition we got 16 reports and 580 something defects, and 30 people raised those 500 and something defects. So we had 385 registered participants, but it looked like we only have 30 people actually tested. And I noticed that a lot of people run out of steam very quickly after a day or two. And when you look at it, it does happen in our project at work as well. Sometimes they give you 3 weeks to do something, and you do it in 3 days and you think you're done. And then the rest of the time, they make few changes here and you completely miss all the changes because you think you're done. So some people finish their testing on the very second day of the competition. There is a reason the competition lasted for 3 weekends. What we didn't want to tell you, we're going to make changes. The developers being in a different location, actually, some of the developers are in India. They are there all the time you were there. So they were there most of the time I wasn't there. I have the developers are in Nigeria and India and the United Kingdom. So pretty much coverage for everybody. Um, some people didn't pay attention to details at all. The questions that were missed were because they were asked outside of the developer's channel, and the developer have strict instruction not to interfere in the content. They should engage with all the questions in their channel and just observe everything else. So if you ask them question in in their channel, there is every possibility 9 out of 10 times they will respond to you. If you ask the same question in a different channel, they might not see it at all. And not a lot of people read the instruction that were provided. Not a lot of people followed the rule. Not a lot of people look at the announcement. Not a lot of people even pay attention to um, the general comments that the judges are leaving here and there and stuff like that. We are testers. We must pay attention to details. It is really important that we pay attention to details. And when I was looking through the report on the bug, um, some people use simulation devices to test. It's not bad. We have those kind of things, so it's easier for us to identify. But you need to define your test environment properly so we know, because you can't make those kind of things up. People will find out. It's technical. So those are my comments on it. It's been very interesting. I've been very impressed with James, Naveen, Lavanya. Lavanya found a security issue as well. I'm surprised why she's not talking about it because she told me that directly. Um, I'm very impressed with the judges and you guys. I'm very happy to have worked with you. Thanks, James, for the sleepless nights. Now I can have some sleep. Naveen, thank you so much for all of the comments. Lavanya, thank you for everything. James is not part of the competition, but we're still going to demand that he submit all of those things he just showed us. We demand them and we will go get them. If he doesn't give us, we'll go to his house and grab them. So thank you so much, guys. It has been a very interesting competition. We promise to do better next time. We might even have more sponsors from the grapevine. I think something might happen. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. So now I would request the judges to remain on the backstage as we will end the live session here now. We will go to the backstage, do our judgment, and then we'll present the results at 8:30 p.m. IST. So thank you everyone for joining this live session. See you in the final.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you later.